Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2-bike platform rack right here on our 2022 Toyota RAV4 Prime. So the Kuat Sherpa is a great all-around bike rack. You have the premium features you would expect from a Kuat bike rack, but it's also lightweight, lighter than the Kuat NV, and we have a lot of good movement there too. You can also get this in different colors. I have the gunmetal gray with those nice orange accents. You can also get this in metallic black or in pearl. They all work the same way. So we'll talk about those features, but we are going to focus on a RAV4 here today so that we can see how it works with the vehicle, and then you can make the best choice for you, your different types of bikes, and your RAV4. So the first thing we'll take a look at is the tilt away feature. So we have this lever right over here. You're going to want to pull that lever and then just let the bike rack drop down to a tilt. And why would you tilt your bike rack away? Well, if you want to open up your hatch. So you can see here how we have plenty of clearance between the door, our pedals, and our handlebars, meaning we can get into the hatch, maybe grab our waters, grab our helmets, grab our backpacks real quick if we forgot them, and then just like that, we're ready to hit the road again. So you can see that clearance again. Even though I have longer handlebars, we still made it, and we have those clearance for those pedals too. And without having to take our bikes off, we just lift this up, snaps into place, and now we can hit the road. So what types of bikes can you carry with this rack? We do have a 40-pound weight capacity, so slightly more than your regular platform rack, but if you have heavy electric bikes, probably not going to be the best fit for you. You may be interested in the Kuat NV instead, or the Hollywood Racks Destination E if you have those super duper heavy electric bikes. But most of your bikes are going to be able to be carried on this bike rack, especially since you have that front wheel mount. Whether you have a carbon fiber frame bike, a step-through frame, a women's frame, or a children's bike, because of that front wheel mount, you don't have to get a frame adapter bar, making it easier for you to carry those bikes. But when you want to take the bike off, you actually start at the rear wheel strap. So this is securing your rear wheel. You press this lever in order to disengage the strap so that you can pull it up and out of the way. And once that strap is off, you then go over to the rest of the bike, hold on to it with one hand as you press this button, lift up on that hook, push that hook out, and just like that, you're ready to grab your bike and hit the trails. So I'm going to leave our bike over here to the side so that we can take a closer look at the bike rack itself. One thing to notice is just how compact it looks. It's like a nice, small, simple bike rack with a bunch of different features. Like here, we have our rear wheel cradle. This tilts back and forth for those different wheelbases. The maximum wheelbase you can carry with this is going to be up to 47 inches. You have that strap that goes around, and you have the different grooves on the inside for your different tire widths. In fact, the maximum tire width you can carry with this is going to be up to 3 inches. So if you have your extra wide fat bike tires, probably not going to be the best fit for you either, but 3 inches is usually more than enough. This also folds down to be nice and neat. We talked about how much I like the front wheel cradle, or the front wheel mount, since that secures your front wheel, but this also folds down for that compact look. All right. We were talking about compact, but how much space does it actually take up? We're going to measure from our bumper here on our RAV4 to the end of the rack, and it sits at 30 inches. So definitely a measurement to keep in mind when you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a really tight spot. Another very important measurement for the RAV4 is going to be the ground clearance though. Measuring at the end of the rack to the ground, it's 19 inches. And your bikes are going to sit 20.5 inches above the ground. But now where does the shank sit though? The shank is only 10 inches off the ground. So you don't have much ground clearance on your RAV4. That's why it's important to have accessories like this. That way your bikes are higher up off the ground, better for those steep inclines like those driveways or those hills. Now, what if you're not planning on going out for a bike ride just yet, but you also don't want to take your bike rack off? While this is definitely lighter than the Kuat NV, you might want to save some time and just fold it up into the compact position. Remember that lever we pulled earlier? We'll just pull that lever again, but this time lift it up, and then it folds into place. It looks like it comes close to the RAV4, but we actually have plenty of clearance. See where that front wheel mount is? That is 1.5 inches away from our bumper. Doesn't sound like much, but when you see how solid the rack is, it's not getting any closer than that. Next measurement is the length now added to the back of our vehicle. From the bumper to the knob, that sits at 12 inches or exactly 1 foot. Big difference compared to when this is folded down. You'll want it in this position when you're just planning on driving around town, you don't want to take up too much space. But what is it like living with a bike rack behind you all the time? Well, notice with it folded up like this, it's far away from your rear window, your tail lights are visible, but also your license plate and your backup camera is visible too. So even if you put it into reverse, you'll still be able to see the view of the cars behind you. The one downside to this being folded up is you will not be able to open up your hatch. So if you have your groceries in one hand, notice how the lever is right over here. You can step on that lever, bring this bike rack down, and now you can open up your hatch. Also, if you want to, you can drive around with it in the down position if you still want that easy access. Now let's talk about how this fits into the hitch. So the Kuat Sherpa is actually available not only in multiple colors, but in 2 hitch sizes. So you have 1.25 inch shank, those match 1.25 inch hitch receivers. I recommend the 2-inch shank like this because it fits into those 2-inch hitch receivers. You have a hitch pin and a lock. You also get a cable lock that wraps around your bikes. Now this is a tool-free install. Instead of having to use a wrench to tighten down a bolt, you just have this anti-rattle knob here. You turn that expands a ball on the inside of the hitch receiver and then creates that anti-rattle effect. Let me demonstrate how that works. And shake the bike rack back and forth to try to get some movement out of it. Let's try up and down too. I'm kind of moving the car at this point. That's because that connection there is nice and secure. Just always double check that knob at the end if you feel like there's going to be any movement with your bike rack. Alright, my personal thoughts about the Kuat Sherpa. It's definitely a great all-around bike rack. It's very nice and compact, which is a look many people like. Now, if you do have your larger mountain bikes with over 47 inches of wheelbase, or if you have your extra heavy electric bikes, this might not be enough bike rack for you. You might be interested in something like the Kuat NV 2.0 or the Hollywood Rack Destination E 2-bike platform rack instead. But for most of those road bikes, most of those mountain bikes, your carbon fiber frame bikes, pretty much most of your bikes of different shapes and sizes, this checks off all those boxes, and it looks good too since you have different color options to match your style. So this was a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2-bike platform rack on our 2022 Toyota RAV4 Prime. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So we can see here how the bike rack moves with our truck.